Hi, I'm Richard Murphy. I want to talk about something which is deeply topical. There is a big dispute going on in the UK at present between some local authorities, in particular in Manchester, and the government about the next stage of coronavirus lockdown. And the big issue is not whether we need to have some degree of coronavirus lockdown. Manchester is heading for absolute shortage of beds to be able to manage those with coronavirus in its hospitals, so nobody underestimates the scale of the challenge it's facing. The problem is, as the Mayor of Manchester has put it, not compensating people for being out of work whilst on coronavirus lockdown is not a solution to anything, because people without money can't be locked down. And that is a fundamental economic problem and an impediment to whatever the government says, because the government's proposal is that people should be living on no more than 2/3 of their wages when in any form of lockdown now. Now, is that going to work? Well, of course it isn't. If somebody's on minimum pay, paying them 2/3 of minimum pay is quite clearly insufficient to make ends meet. In fact, let's just broaden that out a little bit more. Research by the Equality Trust, which I would recommend you look at and even support if you've got any spare money, because they're a great organisation. The Equality Trust says that 40% of households in the UK do not have enough savings to get through a month's bills. In other words, unless they're paid, they literally could not cover their bills for the next month. So literally paying people 2/3 of their income is going to push some of those people into immediate insolvency. Do it for more than a month and many more are going to be facing literally bankruptcy, in effect, inability to pay their bills. People who are forced into positions where they have to make choices between feeding their children, paying the rent, paying for the electricity and gas, are faced with an impossible choice. Well, they will feed their children, I'm sure, but we do also know that many parents don't feed themselves in that situation to try to make sure that the rent and the utilities are paid. This is utterly unacceptable. And the reason why it's utterly unacceptable is that the whole reason why the government says that it cannot support people who are on coronavirus lockdown is that there is a shortage of money. This is complete nonsense. What Manchester, what Liverpool, what Lancashire, what people in Scotland and Wales who are also locked down need to know is that there is literally no reason why the money that is required to support them during the times that they cannot work because of coronavirus is available. How's it available? Because so far this year, the government has created over £200 billion of new money using the quantitative easing programme. And the Bank of England says on its website that when it buys back government bonds that the government has issued to fund its spending, it creates new money. This is unambiguously true. And so far this year, the Bank of England has bought around £200 billion worth of bonds, and the government has issued around £200 billion worth of bonds. So in net terms, the government has borrowed literally nothing, and nor has it asked for any extra money from taxpayers. So in other words, there is no shortage of capacity to fund support for people who are on furlough lockdown. The only reason why those people are not getting money is because the government doesn't want to pay them. And it doesn't want to pay them because this government thinks that it must deliver the message that government can't solve problems. And that's because of its own political philosophy, and therefore it is saying you must bear the burden even though the problem is collective. The problem is within the scope of government. We're imposing the lockdown, but you must pay the price. That is wholly politically unacceptable to the Mayor of Manchester, to many other local authorities, and frankly to the devolved governments of the UK. And they can all rumble the truth. This government is straightforwardly lying because there is money to support people who are now going to be out of work because of coronavirus, but the government is choosing to not make it available to them. It's time for the lies to end. It's time for the truth to be told. It's time for it to be said that money is available. It's time for it to be recognised that nobody needs to be forced into poverty because of coronavirus. It's time for it to be appreciated that if anybody is forced into poverty, it's by government choice, and it's time for people to say no to that. I think that is what we should all be saying now. Thanks for watching this video. If you've enjoyed it, I'm pleased. If you want to see other videos like this, there are links below this screen. If you want to subscribe, hit the subscribe button. Follow me on Twitter as well, @Richard J. Murphy. Look at my blog, Tax Research UK. And if you'd like to donate, because this video series is being largely paid for by donations, there is a donations button on every single post on my blog. Thanks a lot.